Alrighty, everyone, I'm going to get started because I want to make sure we get in this information, and I am recording because I know a few people have some obligations tonight and weren't able to get on right at 8 o'clock, so I'm recording the call. I'm going to focus on forming because a few people have brought it up to me, and, you know, quite frankly, like I said, it was good for me to kind of write it down and
2 minutes.
focus on. Hold on one second. I'm going to mute everybody. Okay, there we go. Focus on my business and being able to have those good conversations, because I have been a culprit in this before as word vomiting. I think we've all done it. I've done it even recently. So, you know, it's one of those things where we have to constantly keep ourselves in check with it, because it's a good way to turn people off. And I think one of the biggest things that people worry about when they join Beachbody is, I'm not a salesman. I'm not interested in selling. I'm not interested in being that person. And I think this is why it's important for us to revisit this topic regularly, because forming is a way that we look at this differently, in that we're a business of creating relationships and helping others reach their physical and maybe even financial goals. So it's a different way of addressing this. And so it's not salesy, it's not yucky, it's not icky, all that good stuff. So I think it's an important area for us to constantly be working on, even if you've been in the business for a long time. Like myself, long time. 2 years really isn't a long time, but it's Beachbody long. I mean, some of the coaches that have been in the business for 7 years are like ancient, apparently, but it's kind of funny. Anyway, so it's important that we're always learning. So first things first, I think one of the things that we have to make sure that we're always using is a list. The worst thing that you can do is just go on your Facebook page and kind of scroll and see, oh, I haven't talked to that person in a while, or whatever. And I've done that before. I'm not saying I haven't, so I'm not pointing fingers or anything like that, but it's one of those things that we really need to have a working list that we're using on a regular basis, and that's that organization piece. And I know for those of you who are in the Push to Diamond group, that was one of the assignments, is to create that long list, and there's a reason for it. And it's not only just for tracking who you're talking to, it's tracking the conversation and the follow-up. Because the follow-up, as you'll see, if you haven't seen yet, is where you're going to have success in getting people to join challenge groups and even coaching and things like that. So make sure you have a list. So, and there's going to be people on the list that you know really well, and there's going to be people on the list that you maybe know somewhere in the middle, and there's going to be people on the list you don't know very well, especially if you're working off of a like page, which is where I'm kind of heading now, because I've sort of exhausted all my friends on my Facebook page. I feel like I haven't, so I'm at a point where I'm kind of starting from fresh. So this forming process is like I said, it's important for me to kind of refresh myself, because it's really important with people that you don't know very well. So what does form mean? If you don't know what form means, it means family, occupation, recreation, and then your message. So this is where that relationship piece is huge. So you might be forming them for a while. I mean, sometimes it could be just a couple of days, a few conversations, or it could be a week, 2 weeks, a couple months, There's really no time limit on it, but it's really getting to know that person on a different level. So obviously the first one is family. Many of us are moms, or we're aunts, or we have different family members, or, we're close with our families. Most of us are. And so it's one of those questions that people always like to hear. It's like, oh, so you're a mom too, have those conversations. Do you have children? Tell me about your family, like all of that kind of stuff. And part of my niche market is moms, as I think many of you, that is your niche market as well. So that's an area that I always kind of go to, because it's an easy, relatable thing for me. But it's important, and people feel, they feel important when you're asking them about them, and it's helping create that bond. Occupation, ask them, do they work? Are they a stay-at-home mom? What does their husband do? Kind of learning about their livelihood, and learning if they like their job. Do they love it? Do they hate it? Do they work long hours? Do they not? You know, those are important things to know. You know, as far as, you know, looking further down the road when we're starting to help figure out what program, if a program will work for them, what's going to be the best fit. Recreation, what they do for fun, what interests they have. You know, those are all important areas, you know, as far as that relationship building process goes. And it's, again, a good way for you to create that bond. And then the message, which is, you know, what we're trying to convey or what we're communicating with them. So all along that, we're kind of paying attention to, you know, what their interests are and their goals and their needs. So we're kind of just being in tune with that as you're getting to know them through this process. And they're really, you know, when you get to your message part, this is the meat where it gets a little tricky at times, and where sometimes we tend to word vomit, which, again, like I've done before, you know, someone says, what's the cost of a program? Well, it's $140, you know. Really, we shouldn't go right into the price, because they will immediately put their judgment blinders on and they will start thinking, nope, can't do it, done. And they shut down. So that's where, you know, I know many of us have had roadblocks there with that financial piece, and then we're kind of backtracking and trying to help them figure out how they can financially afford it. When in reality, we need to look at, is this even a good fit for them? First of all, is it something that they really would want? Because some people are at a point where they're, you know, they really need a certain type of support or program, and money's not really, you know, going to deter them if that's something that they really need. You know, so it's important to kind of approach that in a different way, you know, because I've done that before. What's the cost? I'll tell them right away, because I don't want to be a salesman, but at the same time, I think we have to be careful how we go about that. So again, there's two ways to invite. Obviously, there's the advertisement piece, which we've all done, and we've talked about it in the Coach Basics group. And I know we've all participated in it, and they're obviously valuable because we're putting ourselves out there on social media on a regular basis. It's a good way for people to just kind of know what you're doing. Sometimes you're going to get people that will be like, I'm ready, sign me up. And that's cool, that's great, and it's going to happen, but it's not always going to happen. The second way to invite, and this is my main way that I get customers, is private messaging and personal invitations, privately talking to people through that forming process and developing relationships. And if you listened to the call last night, I talked a lot about part of that power hour is just reaching out to people. And that's my way of starting my forming process, is I reach out and say, hey, what's new? I saw that you went and went on that cool vacation, or, you know, I saw, you know, that cute picture of your daughter in her dance recital, and blah, blah, you know, whatever. That's part of me creating that relationship. And so, you know, I kind of put that in my power hour, or part of my vital behaviors. So again, most of the time people are going to come back and say, sounds great, what's the cost? So what we want to do, since we are, you know, we're truly trying to help them and trying to help them figure out what's going to work for them, we need to control the conversation. Because if they control the conversation and say, you know, nope, I've already tried that and I'm done, you know, they're going to shut off. So we need to be the one asking the questions. And that goes back to that be interested, not interesting. And that's where that piece of asking lots of questions comes in, because they're going to feel that you're interested in them, and we are, because we are trying to get the information to give them what they need. So with that being said, your response could be, before we get into that, I just want to see if this is a good fit for you, okay? Another way to approach it is, well, it kind of depends on what area is going to fit, or what kind of program is going to work for you, because there's different prices. So let's talk about what your needs are. So those are kind of two different ways to approach it, so that you're not diving right into the price. We are going to get into that at some point, but we don't know exactly what's going to work for them anyway. I mean, I know many times a 21-day fix is a big one, or whatever's on special. You know, I know a lot of the times that happens, but it's not always the case. I mean, for some people, it might be the ultimate reset. Obviously, that's much more expensive. Or if they're just looking for the 3-day refresh, you know, there's a lot of different areas we can go into. So diving into the price really isn't going to be accurate anyway. So what you say is, I just have a few, different questions for you to find out, like, what is it that you're looking for? So the first question you would ask is, what makes you interested? What is it about what I've told you or what you've heard that makes you interested in the program or the group, depending on how the conversation went, if you're inviting to a challenge group or a program, whatever. What is it about it that makes you interested? So you're going to gather that information. You're also going to find out, what is it that you're hoping for yourself? What are you hoping to get out of it? What are your goals? That kind of thing. So you'll find out, like, if I'm really bad with portion control, or, I just can't seem to get a handle on finding the time to work out, or, I really need to lose the last 15 pounds of my baby weight that I gained when I was pregnant, or whatever it may be. I want to gain some muscle tone. I'm at my goal weight, but I really need to build my muscle. So we're already kind of figuring out in our head, or already thinking, like, if someone's already at their goal weight and they're trying to build muscle, we might be thinking about hammer and chisel. We might be thinking about something that's not focused so much on losing weight. Or if there's someone that really needs to get a handle on their portion control, obviously the 21-day fix is always a great fit. So we're kind of thinking that in the back of our head at that point. Then we want to find out, do they currently exercise already? They might be a runner already. Maybe they're like in love with yoga. Maybe they go to yoga classes, and, or maybe they're into weight training, so to find out what kind of exercise style they have, or maybe they've never worked out a day in their life. These are really important things for us to know about our challengers, because we certainly don't want to set them up with the wrong program or the wrong whatever. And we also want to be a good support for them while they're doing the challenge group too, so we kind of know what to help them with. Asking them what type of foods they eat. I've had a lot of picky eaters that, I'm a super picky eater. I don't think I could do this. So that's important. Those are good conversations to have. And then asking if they've ever done a Beachbody program before. Now, obviously Beachbody is growing exponentially. And so people's knowledge of Beachbody is growing, or at least their perception of what they think Beachbody is. But if they don't have a coach, typically, I have to say, and I'm generalizing, most people don't complete a program unless they have a support system. And I think that's the piece that we come in. And I think, some people, and I think Joy posted it maybe earlier, they said, well, I can buy the program on Amazon, or I can buy Shakeology on Amazon, or whatever. But they're completely missing out on the biggest piece, which is that support piece. And that's where we come into play. So asking if they've ever done a Beachbody program, it's good to know if they have any background knowledge, and find out if they had a support system to help them complete the program. Because we want to find out, did they complete the program? Did they not? And what was the problem? And that's when we would say, do you think you would benefit from a private support group with women or men or whatever who are on the same journey? Most of the time, people are going to say, yeah, I probably would benefit from that, because I think that's the biggest piece, is accountability and support, and feeling it like you're not alone. Because, we've all been there where, I'm sure we've all been there. I shouldn't generalize, but I'm sure we've all been there where, we've got a lot going on and struggling with this, that, or the other, and our fitness kind of goes last in line. And when we have that support and accountability, it helps us put ourselves first in line as far as taking care of our needs first, and finding out that, hey, we actually can do this and balance all the other responsibilities we have in our life. So typically people are going to say yes. And then, I haven't done this before. Well, I guess I have a couple of times. But one of the suggestions that I was listening to a call by Lindsay, Kathy probably knows the name of it. Lindsay, she's a top coach. Weiss, maybe? I don't remember her name. Anyway, she's a top coach. She's an elite. She's been elite a few years in a row. And she sends like a 3-minute video. So based on what you think their needs are, based on the interview that you've had with them, you might show them a video about PiYo if they're totally just a Pilates and yoga person, or maybe they have knee issues and really like a hardcore bouncing program isn't good for them. So you might show a video about that. Or maybe they're like, I don't have a ton of time, and maybe the 22-minute hardcore is going to be a good fit for them. So, hi, Jason. Okay, we'll see Daddy. So you kind of have to read that based on what they've shared with you. And then that's when you're going to go into, you might send the video. I haven't done the video before. Well, no, I've done it a couple of times, but I'll at least have that conversation and talk about, well, this program really has this, this, and this. And schedule a time that you're going to follow up. When are you going to be able to watch this 3-minute video? You do a lot. Oh, that's awesome, Kathy. And obviously Kathy has a lot of success with selling challenge packs. So the videos are a great way to say, when are you going to be able to watch this video? Because typically they're like 3-4 minutes long. And then boom, they're on your follow-up list tomorrow, Thursday, whatever that may be. They're all in the Coach Online office. Or a lot of times I just go on Google and I'll YouTube it and I'll say like 21-day fix video, and you'll see the promo video. Beachbody has a ton of them. And like I said, they're like 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah, you'll find them on YouTube. Yep. And that will give you a good follow-up time so that you can follow up with them that next day, or, I'll have some time tomorrow night, or maybe they'll say, I'll watch it right now. And you can have that conversation right then. And that's when you're going to kind of, I know we've shared a lot of scripts. We've shared a lot of scripts of how to break down any further information or kind of making the final sale. So that's when you'll go into that, whether it's the price or what are they going to get out of the program? What are they going to, they're going to get Shakeology. They're going to get the support from the challenge group or whatever other information they're finding out at that point. That's when we're going to start sharing a little bit more of that when they're ready to order. That's when we're going to share that information. So once you've got them to sell a challenge pack, or once you get them to buy a challenge pack, you get them in their challenge group. And this is why challenge groups are so important. And, if we can, a lot of people don't like to do before pictures because sometimes they're kind of like at rock bottom with how they feel about themselves and they don't want to do a before picture, but those before pictures can be really, really powerful. When I started my process 2 years ago, and Wendy was like, do a before picture in your bathing suit. And I was like, no way, but I did it and I didn't show anybody. And then I got brave and I emailed her. I said, if you show anybody, I'm not going to, and whatever. But then I got good I reached my goal and I finally got brave and I put it out there and whatever. But it's really powerful. And I still have that before and after picture from the very first time I did the 21-day fix. And it's powerful now as a coach to have that. So we try to encourage people to do that. And I know Kathy's done a bunch of them and it's awesome because that's what people get excited about, is seeing like, yeah, this really does work. And hey, she's a busy mom and she's busy with this, that, and the other with her job. And it is possible. So anyway, so if we can get people to do before pictures, it's awesome. But after they complete their program or throughout the process of completing the challenge group, we want to, find out how excited they are about the results. Did they get the results they wanted? Are they on their way to getting the results they wanted? How excited are they? Are they sharing about it? They might already be working the business and not even realize it. I'm going to read Kathy's message here. After my recent 3-day refresh, so many people reached out. Yeah, exactly. And so sometimes putting yourself out there is huge. But, when someone's completing a program and, I know in the current challenge group that many of us are running right now, is that our goal is to try to get them to put themselves out there, and that by the end of the group, they're going to be being a coach without realizing it. And that, they're sharing on social media already. So anyway, you're going to find out, how excited are you about this? Many times if they're reaching their goals, they're super jazzed up about the fact that they did this. And many times they'll want to share about it. And that's when we start talking about inviting about the coaching opportunity. And so praise at that point. You are amazing. Awesome job. You're a rock star. You inspired me, and be genuine. Obviously don't just throw lines out there. Like, be genuine how you really feel about how well they did. And then that's when you disarm and you'll say, I don't know if this is a good fit for you or not. And then you go into the invite, but have you ever considered being a coach? Because quite frankly, you're already kind of doing it, and what you're doing would inspire others in reaching their goals. So that's kind of the whole process from start to finish A, how you're going to get a good challenger, and B, how you're going to get a really effective coach. The best coaches are the ones that have worked a program and have had good success. So you really want to know them really well. So again, so you know what kind of program to help them get involved with. So you know how to support them within the challenge group, and that so that they can get those goals that they really wanted to reach, which gets them inspired, because the best coaches are the ones that are super passionate and truly believe in what the programs can do for them and what the support community can do for them. And I think that's kind of, you know, the crux of what we're all doing. So that's what I have for you tonight. I know Kathy had a lot to say, and I think she has a lot of experience with this as well. So I don't know if you have any other things you want to add in, Kathy. She said she uses a lot of YouTube videos. I'm reading the messages.
So I wasn't expecting this when I did my recent 3. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
When when I did the 3-day refresh and I posted, a lot of people reached out to me about the 3-day refresh. And when I was early on in coaching, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do this, but I tried to upsell all of them to Kickstarter challenge packs, and 2 or 3 of them went for it. So, I mean, not that I wasn't genuine, I believe in it, but I was able to talk to them about why I love the 3-day refresh and say, hey, as long as you're interested in that, what are you currently doing with your fitness? You know, have you tried Shakeology? And was pleased that, you know, some of them went for it. Another thing I do is, a long time ago, I made a video kind of about what I do as a coach, how I help people. And so a lot of times early on when I'm talking with someone, I'll share that video, have them watch it, and then kind of get back to me, because it kind of addresses a lot of those early questions. And I can share in All Stars a link to the video that I shared. I mean, it's almost 2 years old now. I could probably update it, but it just talks about the value of working with a coach, and how it's called like how to find the best workout video for you or the best fit for you. So often I'll have people watch it and then kind of get back to me with their answers to the questions that I posed in the video.
And that's nice, because people want to see you instead of, sometimes they don't want to see a stock, you know, something that they can just look up on the internet.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. My goal this summer is to do some of those kind of things, but yeah, so that's great.
Another thing that you may or may not have heard that was surprising to me early on, but it makes sense, is that the average person needs like 7 to 12 interactions with you before they will be ready to go for it. So I know a lot of my newer coaches are like, I've reached out to them like 3 times. I just don't understand. And I'm like, you know, it takes time. And when you're posting consistently and you're coming up in their news feeds, you may know this already, but like just going onto their page and liking and commenting on their posts, not even necessarily anything to do with fitness, but just interacting with them will keep them, yes?
No, that's fine. You know what? Piggybacking on what Kathy was just saying, that's a good point you bring up, because that was one thing I was going to mention tonight and I completely forgot. I was watching a video with, gosh darn, her name is leaving me. And I talked a little bit about it last night in the Coach Basics call. But one of the things she suggested is, when you are on, like, I don't know if you know how to create, not a group, but it's people that you can click on it and you'll just see those people. See, I have a Beachbody coach one, so I go on that and I'll sometimes just peruse through and get different ideas. And there's a way to create a group of people. So it might be like people that you're really wanting to, hold on, buddy, recruit to be a coach, or you really think they benefit from a challenge pack, is you put them in that group, and then you can kind of click on it and make sure you're commenting and interacting. And it's a nice, easy way to do that. But Kathy's absolutely right. That's a really good way to create a relationship, because I do check my likes and my comments, and I get excited, even like when it has nothing to do with Beachbody, just because it's just kind of one of those things that makes you feel good. Like, oh, someone actually was interested in, like, I posted the baby room thing this morning. And I get excited, like, oh, they think it's cute. It has nothing to do with selling anything. It makes you feel good. And so making other people feel good is a really good way to create relationships.
Definitely. Okay. And you'll notice too, when you start forming and you do these chats, that then they'll come up in your newsfeed more, and you'll come up in there. So even if, you know, early on you're not talking anything about fitness, but you have a daily post that you do from your workout, or a selfie or Shakeology, they're going to start seeing that and get curious, and you never know when they're going to reach out to you.
Right. Exactly. So that was a good point. So yeah, I mean, that's something that I've been more recently doing than I had before. I had been for a while just solely posting and private messaging people. And I'm like, that interaction piece on people's Facebook pages, I mean, it was kind of like, duh, because I do it. I like looking and seeing what people are interested in with me, and it's just natural human instinct. So to be able to show that interest, and it's not just scrolling and liking and doing that kind of thing. It's targeted based on your list. Who are the people who's your dream team? Who are the list of people that you really want to work with? Go on their pages and interact with them.
And that's another tip I've learned a handful of times the hard way, and this may be common sense, but in case it's not, before you follow up with people, go to their Facebook page for just like 30 seconds to a minute and see what's going on in their lives, because I've followed up with people who were in the hospital and I had no idea, and I'd be like, hey, how's this going? And they'd be like, well, I've been in the hospital for the past 3 days. And so it takes 30 seconds, but just so you're kind of aware of what's going on.
Right. Yeah, I've done that before, where I've just kind of like, it came across insensitive because I didn't look at their page to see what was recently happening. Like, well, I just had a baby. Like, whoops. I mean, it hasn't been that extreme, but I'm just saying as an example. So that's always good to kind of keep that in mind. So anyone have any questions or things that they need to comment, or any areas that you need support in, that just unmute yourself.
Quick question. Has anyone tried the voice message with Facebook messaging?
I use it all the time.
Okay. So instead of typing it out, you do the voice message instead?
I know a lot of coaches do that. Like, I've seen some of the top coaches they prefer to, because, well, it's a lot faster. And they can hear like the genuineness of your voice, because sometimes you can't read a personality from, sometimes that people have a hard time, or some people aren't like big on exclamation points and smiley faces, and they might come across harder. And, I know I do it. I should probably do it more. I do it more with my coaches. Like, I know Kathy and I will send long ones too, but it cuts you off after a minute. So you have to kind of be aware of that.
Right.
And then you have to send another one. So.
Yeah, a lot of people, Joy, are surprised the first time I do it, because most people don't ever use it. It's in Messenger, Dana. So yeah, but it's just a great way, because, the amount of time you spend typing and trying to explain something, and especially if you're trying to explain what a challenge pack is, or give a little background on Shakeology, or, share a little bit of your story or whatever it is. And I'll also do it to check on challengers as well. Like, just, hey, I just want to check in and see how you're doing. And sometimes I'll switch up. Sometimes I'll type, and sometimes I'll do that just to switch it up, especially if somebody's not responding to me, because sometimes people are more visual or audible, or,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's a good way, I think, because the non-responders probably would be more responsive to the actual voice than just a message.
And you guys probably know this too, but if you have challengers in your group, yes, you may. If you have challengers in your group that aren't as participating as much in your accountability group or challenge group, when you reach out to them one-on-one, they'll often tell you a lot more, or sometimes they will, and then maybe you can get them more involved.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I try to, on my one of my Sunday to-dos every single Sunday is I go in my challenge groups and I look at all my challengers and I private message each one of them. Like, it's just, I used to make a list on a piece of paper, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go into my challenge group and just, you can click on it and it'll say message, and you message them. It's a good way to kind of track them personally, because there are some people that just don't want to put themselves out there in a challenge group, even though it's a private challenge group. It's just, they're not comfortable. They might be watching, but, I want to inform them.
Yeah, one thing, I know this is a little off from forming, it's more challenge group related, but you all, I think most of you know Rachel Baldwin, who's on our team, one of Aaron Cermak's coaches. She got me into doing like a leaderboard every day with the challenge group, and that has gotten my clients and coaches so engaged. And it's also a really quick way to know who's participating and who's not. And I don't tag everybody every day, but maybe 2 or 3 times a week. If people aren't chatty as much, I'll tag everybody who's on the board, And then in the comments, I'll tag the people who haven't checked in a while and just be like, hey, how you doing? You know.
Mm-hmm. I know that's been huge because it's an easy way for people, and then they don't want to be behind too.
Yeah.
Just other people are like, oh, they've got 5 workouts and I did work out this week. I need to get credit for it, you know? So
and that accountability, I think it was the Team Body Burn Hammer and Chisel group that Sarah Lenore did this summer that I kind of learned this from her, but every day when they check in, the first 4 things are like, did you work out? You know, how was your nutrition? How was your water? How was your sleep? And then the last question always changes every day. So they don't know what to expect, what they're going to be answering. It might be, you know, what's your why? Why are you doing this? Or how do you deal with stress? Or tell us something we don't know about you. And so they seem to kind of have fun with that question being switched up. And then also just with accountability and good habits, there's apps, as I'm sure you know, for everything now. So a lot of my challengers were using that waterlogged app to track our water and the 21-day fit tracker to track portions. And most of us have Fitbits and track our sleep at night. So when I say how much sleep did you get, people are like 7 hours and 34 minutes, you know, so it's, but I mean, for me, like I love tracking and I love checking things off lists. And so like I was doing horrible with my water until we all started using waterlogged, and now I'm doing great. You know, I like while we were on this call, I filled it up twice because I know I've still got 18 ounces to go or something. So.
Yep. I know I'm the same way. So anyone else have any other comments or questions about forming or challenge groups or anything else going on? You know, a lot of times when I am struggling in an area, I mean, there are so many coaches on YouTube that have amazing 10, 15-minute videos. And I've been trying to do that more often than I used to. No questions for me. I'm trying to do that a little bit more frequently than I was, just to make me a more informed coach. And so I'm not just kind of like, sometimes I'll just like kind of figuring it out on my own, or I would contact Wendy, my upline, a million times. And, you know, so I'll just YouTube it and I know who some of the top coaches are, or I might just YouTube a topic and put Beachbody in it and a bunch of things will come up. And then I'll kind of listen to a few. I already kind of know who the top 10 coaches or who are the top 20 coaches. And I usually find them pretty credible, obviously. So I'll listen to those videos, and it's a good way to just keep informing you. And I know Joy was asking about Shakeology stuff. Like, was it Joy or Amy? It was Joy, right? The Shakeout. You were getting those questions, or was it Amy? I don't remember.
It was Amy.
It was Amy. Okay, sorry. I put you together. She was saying, you know, she'll get caught on the spot about some Shakeology questions. There's Shakeology podcasts that give you tons of information on it. You know, just keep flooding yourself with information. It's part of that. It can be considered part of your personal development too, is just teaching yourself, you know, and constantly learning. And we're always constantly learning. I still am, obviously, learning about different ways to handle things, obviously learning more about Shakeology because people are going to ask you. I mean, I walk around with my Shakeology cup every day. Everyone knows I drink it. And so I do get questions too sometimes. But if you ever get caught on the spot with something you're not sure the answer, you can just, I'm just honest. I'm like, let me get back to you on that. You're genuine. You're just being yourself. You can just speak from the heart. Like, I love it. It's changed my life. You know, if they're asking a specific question about something, I don't know it right off the top of my head. I will find out and get back to you is usually my response, and people appreciate that. And I'll get back to them and they're fine with it. So just keep educating yourself. And, you know, obviously we're a team for a reason. We reach out to each other. We connect with each other. I mean, I talk to many of you are on this call fairly regularly, you know, so it's good that we reach out to each other. We lean on each other. It's totally okay. So, but doing the research on YouTube and those podcasts are great too. So take advantage of them. All right. Anyone else need anything? Otherwise we'll end the call, and I'm going to stop recording in a moment and post it in Team All Stars just for some of our other coaches who couldn't get on tonight. And hopefully it was helpful. It was helpful for me to even just kind of shore up some of this stuff and put it together for myself. So I'm learning myself too. So, and thanks for piping in, Kathy. It was very helpful. A lot of your comments and stuff. So obviously Kathy's been a coach almost exactly as long as I have. So she has a ton to offer, and she's a wealth of information as well. So, you know.
All right. I haven't been on one of your calls in a while, and you're rock. This is awesome. So way to go.
Thanks, Kathy. So, all right, everyone, have a great Tuesday night. Well, tomorrow night there's a Fierce Focus call. I know there's a ton of calls this week. It's just one of those weeks. There's a Fierce Focus call, and I'm actually leading that one too. And it's going to be on organizing your time. It's going to be a PowerPoint. It'll be recorded if you don't catch it. But that's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. So just letting you know. I'll post that in the group too if you wanted to see it, or you can catch the playback of it. So, all right, everyone, have a good night. I'll see you soon.